discussing season 1 of Wednesday before I watch season 2, part 2. I have a lot of thoughts. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Farron and I'm in the process of coming up with a new channel name to go along with the new direction I'm taking the channel. So stay tuned. My doll channel is linked down below. Let's get into it. Oh wait, before I begin, disclaimer. I have not seen any trailers for season 2. I have no idea what's happening in season 2. I do know a couple little tiny details of things that are happening in season 2. Things you're going to see in season 2. But I haven't seen a full-on trailer. I started watching a little teaser a few months ago, and I had to stop because I'm I don't need to know anything else. Stop it. And so I've just been kind of putting a whole been living in a bubble, a Wednesday free bubble, so that I am not spoiled for season 2 because they put too much in the trailers to get you to watch it, and I'm I don't need all of that. The title alone got me. Season 1 got me. I'm already in. I'm already locked in. I don't need any more. So let's not put any discussion of season 2 in the comments, please. Just keep it to season 1 discussion. We will be discussing season 2 eventually. So just hold on. You're excited, I'm excited. Let's just wait until I've watched it before we can discuss it. I'm going to keep it to season 1, and we're going to, because I'm also going to be doing some other things today with filming. So we're going to keep all of it to season 1 today. We will be discussing season 2. Don't you worry. I just want to wait a little bit. But anyway, now that is out of the way, let's get to season 1 discussion part 2. We're on episode 5. And I'm not even kidding, you guys. I have so many pages. Okay, so season 1, episode 5 starts on page 3. And then it goes on, 20. So, yeah, to say I have a lot of thoughts when it comes down to season 1, I do. Certain things I will not be talking too much in depth in because I want to say that for a separate video. I want to do a whole video on, I'm going to call it family dynamics, because I want to discuss Wednesday and her family, but I also want to discuss another family. Well, the families just in general when it comes down to the Addams family, Wednesday TV show. So I'm probably gonna be filming that right after this one, because I'm gonna be filming 3 Wednesday themed videos today. But let's skip into episode 5. So starting off, episode 5 is a 32-year flashback. And my thoughts are, why did we pick 32 years? Why did we pick that? Because we're going to just say guesstimation, just start throwing ages out for these people. We're speculating. We don't know. Let's just say, for argument's sake, that Morticia and Gomez are the same age Wednesday is in the show at this time. They're 16. They waited 16 years to have Wednesday. And mind you, they've been together this whole time. They've been together for 32 years, roughly. They could have been together for longer. They could also be 17, 18. Who really knows? They didn't give us any ages. They just told us 32 years ago. That's all the math we have. And yes, it's totally possible that children were lost along the way. But 16 years is still an insane time for the Addams. with one, it being the Addams family, but even other couples who've been together since they were teenagers have had kids in their 20s. They're having kids in their 20s, not waiting until their 30s, especially if they've been together the entire time. If they have broken up or they've been separated, it makes sense. But no, or they've met in their 20s, then they decide to have kids later. But they're in high school. Like, Nevermore is a high school. So them waiting 16 years doesn't make any mathematical sense. And one of the things I think they did this is because of the actors they chose, and they chose older actors, which is fine. I am not saying that the actors are not good for the roles. I'm not talking about that at all. But if we can have Ian Somerhalder and Paul Wesley be in their 30s playing teenage vampires in the 2010s, in the 2020s, we can definitely have people in their 50s, 60s. I don't know how old these people are. I don't want to look it up because they'll give me spoilers. Playing their people in their 40s. I personally think the flashback should have been 25 years max. 25 years max. Personally. Because it would still account for, like, them, if they were 16, them having children a little bit later, like, just to giving them, like, oh yeah, they're in college, or whatever they chose to do in that time span, or if they lost a kid or two in that time span, it would still make more sense. I think 25 years is, like, the max. You went to 32. We could shave off some years, and it's called acting. It's acting. They can act as younger. They can actually be the exact same people. They're just, like, in their 40s instead of their actual ages. They don't have to be their actual age. We've done it with so many other people. Like, Jenna Ortega isn't currently 16 when she's filming the show. I'm pretty sure she was a little bit older. I don't know how old she is. I don't want to look it up because it's going to say season 2 trailers and spoilers, and I don't need to know the stuff right now. But I don't think she was 16 when the show was being made, and if she was, she's definitely not now. So it's just like, I don't know why we picked 32. I think next thing we're going to be discussing is the sheriff. I can't remember that man's name. I don't even know if he has a name. I just know his name is Sheriff. The sheriff, he was a young, I think he was a young cop in whatever happens in this. And so he doesn't like the Addams, he doesn't like Wednesday because of her father and what he was accused of when he was 16, 17, 18. A teenager. And sure, it was like a very bad crime, but that's not the point. And it would make more sense for the cop. But the cop has been a cop for at least 32 years. Let's say this was his second case of what goes down in the show. Let's say he's 20. And I'm just doing some rough math here to make the math make sense. Let's say he's about 20. So 32 years makes him 52. And him having a 16-year-old makes a little more sense. But also, it doesn't. Because when you, the way I'm trying to do the math the way I'm doing the math, because if he was a cop during the things that are going down with Morticia and Gomez, Tyler's mom went to Nevermore during this time. And let's say that's why I'm just like, and so they're in the same town, which means at some point they will meet. Do they wait 16 years to have kids too? So even like with them, get the traditional, your normies. Well, he's a normie. The math is crazy. They, especially like nowadays, people are waiting to have kids. Actually, I don't know what people are doing. I think people are still just doing what they do. If they're in a relationship, they're having kids, and if they're not, they're waiting. or some people just don't want kids. But during the time that these kids would have been born, their parents should have been in their 20s having these kids instead of being in their 30s. And actually, like, yeah, 20. Yeah, because if he was 20, he'd be like 36. And if they were 16, they'd be 32. But I don't know the full math on what's going on, or if he was even a cop when Gomez was arrested. But he kind of made it seem like he was a cop because of how angry he was with what went down with Gomez getting away with what he did. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like, I don't know, 32 years is wild. But we're going to move on and discuss the family therapy session. The Adams family is in town because it's like parents weekend, family weekend. And Wednesday finds out that her father's been accused of a crime, murder. And during like a family therapy session, I think they went to drop her off, and then they're like, "Hey, you should stay and let's have a group session." And the Adams family are very uncomfortable with the whole like group therapy. Honestly, okay, this is another thing that's like not in my notes, but I'm gonna go reference the '60s a lot because I've watched the 1960s a lot, and in the 1960s when they had issues that they didn't know how to deal with within like their family, what do? They call for experts. They went to see a psychologist for Pugsley because he was like, now in hindsight, he wasn't doing anything bad, but he was doing things that they were like, he doesn't normally do that. We're concerned. We're concerned parents. So they call a psychologist and they're like, hey, they go to see the psychologist and they're like, hey, he's been doing some really strange things. And so he's like, give them attention and just like kind of cater to what, like, they went to see a psychologist to get some help with their kids. And so in Wednesday TV show, them not being like receptive to therapy, I get like the whole like not just wanting to discuss like, but I don't want, again, it's falling into what we see with Tyler and his dad. And it's very much making the Addams family very much your stereotypical family. And that's the whole point. The Addams family aren't your typical family, and it's kind of falling into like, I feel like the creators just didn't watch or know anything about the Addams family. That's what I'm kind of coming to the conclusion of as I discuss it, because the Addams family do so many things that isn't very Addams family. Uh, you know what I'm saying? Because the Addams family believe in like vaccines. They believe in like taking care, like loving your family. They believe in like therapy and like, because the psychologist like, hey, you're gonna have to come over because we've been doing what you said and it's not working. So they had the psychologist come over to their house. You know, like, and it's just like, yeah, I don't know. But during that family therapy session, Wednesday asked her parents about the guy that Gomez was accused of murdering. Morticia becomes upset, ends the session very abruptly, and then when they get outside, tell Wednesday that she doesn't know the whole story. And honestly, I think it would have been a lot easier if she just explained the story, but then it makes the story a lot shorter. But I also don't think this should have been the focus of the episode. I think honestly, the way for the family to come together is for them the way they did, like solve the crime together. But she had to do a lot of like stuff on her own before coming back to like discussing it together. I don't know. It's just the way they have set up the family is for failure. And I mean like the writers and like the showrunners. And Gomez gets arrested. I don't have that in my notes when he actually gets arrested, but I do have the next thing was while visiting Gomez in jail, Wednesday says she. And this is more discussion on like her parents, so I'm gonna save that. But she does visit her dad in jail to like get the story of what happened, and a lot of things he said, like the big key points happened, but Wednesday knows his tells when he's lying, so she's like, I gotta do some more digging, and I think she goes to the Nevermore Library to discuss it with her mom to get the full story. I was like, this right here, it gets me every time. Like, why are the cops always so bad at their jobs? Because the sheriff is focused so hard on Gomez. He's like, he's back in town. Now it's my chance to right a wrong that happened. I don't really know. Okay, like racism when it comes down to because the outcasts are like actually different. I don't know. It's very like the symbolism of racism with it because the town hates the outcasts and because they're different from the normies. The normies hate the outcasts, and he's the sheriff, and he's focusing like on like, oh, your dad's the right person is in jail for his crimes, and Wednesday comes to him and tries to like, hey, no, my dad didn't do this, and he's just like so focused, like, no, I got the guy, he did it years ago, he was like, we saw a witness and all that, and it's like, but you need to look further into evidence, like you need to do some more digging, you can maybe not be a detective, but you need to start using some clues. You need to start digging some more. You're not doing anything. Cute. Oh, we do have a cute sibling moment out on the lake. We'll discuss that later. Whenever it comes down to a discussion about Wednesday and her mom, I'm going to just put that in a separate video because I have way too many thoughts on their relationship for it to be in this video. This video will be 6 years long, and I don't have time for that. No, I want to discuss, I want to delve into it and just focus on the family separately. Oh, I did put love to see Morticia and Wednesday bonding in a graveyard, and Morticia and Wednesday teaming up together against the mayor was nice to see. Them figuring out all the things that happened and freeing Gomez. It's great. Oh, after they've solved the crime and Gomez is like set free, they kind of discuss the visions and what it means, and the visions. This is why I was like, what did I write? What am I writing? Her vision starting, there's no consistency on when her visions actually start. Because in one scene, it was a few months ago, and in another scene, it was a year ago, and I'm just like, when was it? A year ago, a few months ago? Because a few months, let's say 3 or 4 months. A year ago is 12 months. That's a huge time frame. Like, is it a year? Was it 6 months ago? Was it 3 months ago? Was it last week? What, did she have her first vision in the first scene you watched? Like, there's no consistency on the visions. Also, another thing that kind of gets me with these visions, she's been having them for months. I would like to see one of these visions, because the first vision we see is she like touches with Pugsley to like help untie him, and sees that he was being like tormented by the jocks, the swim team. And then when is the next vision? The next vision she witnesses the guy with the truck dying. So that's the next vision we see, I think. I think that's in episode 1. Both of those are in episode 1. And so it's just like, what was she saying before? What was she saying before? And I know her visions take are more of a darker. She sees visions like her visions are like darker. But like, what was she saying before? I'm curious. I just want to know at this point because now she's being like touching things and she's like seeing visions of like to help her like solve crimes. And I don't really get the whole vision thing in general, just with the way they've done it. And Morticia apologized to Wednesday because she didn't feel like she could tell her about the visions. And that's the thing, like with That's So Raven, um, she never. I don't. I haven't seen every single episode, but I did watch most of the episodes when it was coming out. But I definitely don't think I saw the last few. Anyway, not the point. But I don't think she ever told her parents about her vision. She told her best friends. I don't know if her brother knew about her visions, but she never told her parents about her visions. And then in Raven's home, when her son starts having visions, I think he eventually tells her, um, but he doesn't like automatically. He's like, "Hey, mom, I just had this weird vision thing, and I'm kind of scared. Like, because it is like a scary like I'm watching something scary happen, and I'm like something that hasn't happened yet, you know. And it's like they never like discuss these things with their parents, and it's like maybe just maybe one of their parents had this go on happen too. I don't know. It's just it's always weird that they do that, and I guess it does make for better TV for like the parents to not know, and that's Raven. But in Wednesday, it doesn't make any sense, especially since like they go like the parents went to Nevermore. They have abilities. Well, I don't know what Gomez does. No one does. He's just Ken. He's goth Ken. Um, but we don't know what, and it's just like I don't know. And I honestly would like to see what Morticia's visions are in comparison to Wednesdays, because Wednesdays are like darker. What does Morticia see? Because hers are like lighter, and I'm like, and I think that's just another way to divide the two of them, and it's just another thing I hate. I don't know, guys. The visions are interesting, and then they talk about how Morticia's she's a dove, and so her visions tend to be more positive, and because Wednesday has a darker see things through a darker lens, she's a raven, and we don't get enough information on this at all. Like this is kind of like happening like at the end of an episode, so you don't really get enough. Or like what is this? What does this mean? And it's not explored again. She's kind of like bopping around. It's like she's supposed to ask Goody, and then what happens with Goody, we'll discuss. Um, she can't do that anymore. So just like Raven are more powerful and potent, but without proper training leads to madness. Thanks, mom. Thanks, mom. Like that's helpful. And I was like, why didn't Morticia tell Wednesday about visions? It seems weird. And they're not trained by the living. But I still feel like, even if Morticia mentioned like as when she like Wednesday's growing up that she's had visions and stuff. I don't know. I don't know, guys. But one thing we do need to do snaps for is Enid stands up to her mom and her dad is proud. That's just something I like to see because Enid can't shift. We're gonna do Enid hasn't been able to shift into a werewolf yet, and her mom is very concerned about it. She's concerned about a lot of it. This is the typical like relationship that we are seeing, that we see in media with a mother daughter relationship. And so to also see it with Wednesday and Morticia, especially when it doesn't make any sense. Um, this follows along the typical like Normie versus the Addams family of the mother-daughter relationship not being super great. Enid's mom is very critical of her, and she's like, "Hey, we're gonna go to werewolf camp so we can get you turning into a werewolf because I'm concerned." And Enid's like, "You want to send me to conversion therapy for werewolves?" And I'm glad she was like, "No, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to camp. I'm not going to summer camp." And eventually, turns into a werewolf in the episode, in by the end of the series, which is like great. As Wednesday, Morticia said goodbye, Morticia tells Wednesday that she looked at her yearbook and remembered the good time she had, but that's her time, and she doesn't want to give that to her daughter, and I never thought she did. So, yeah. I don't want be a stranger in the when Morticia, as she's leaving, hands Wednesday the yearbook, and Wednesday is looking through it, and she sees that Weems was Judy Garland in the book because she was able to transform into people, and that's how she was okay. Realizes that Weems is a shapeshifter and that she hid the information on Rowan's death. There we go, Rowan. I don't know what I said in the other one. Ronan. I said Ronan. I'm close. I was close. Getting into episode 6. Wednesday is holding a seance because she wants to talk to Goody because she needs to get information on her visions, but Goody is not wanting to talk to her. And the one thing that really sucks when you're really thinking about the Wednesday's visions is now that Goody is gone, she has no one to help her with these visions and how to get control of them. Because I really think that's something that, if this show wasn't 8 episodes long, we could have gotten more on it, on the vision, like helping her control her visions and stuff, flush things out some more. But yeah, try to shove as much stuff as possible into 8 episodes. And if you guys couldn't have done 10, I feel like the shows are getting shorter and shorter. They went from like 22, 24 episodes to like 12, 13, like splitting it in half, to now we're getting 8. Just in like TV shows in general, we're getting 8 episodes, and that's enough episodes for you. Yeah, they're like 50 minutes. That's enough, right? No, because back in the day, the budgets were a lot better. Once upon a time, used CGI for like everything, and they managed to have like 22, 24 episodes. At least 24 episodes, 45 minutes on television, and you guys are like, no, we only have budget for 8. Like Gilmore Girls, they have like a whole, like, yes, it's a set, but like they are able to do multiple different locations, and again, 24 episodes a season, at least. I can't remember the exact episodes. 7 seasons done in a timely manner. Now we're getting 8. I just can't. The show is not long enough, A, for my enjoyment, and B, because there's so many things that they drop the ball on. And again, why is Gomez at Nevermore? Anyway, I think they just wanted a place for them to meet, and each and every rendition they meet a different way, which is like fine. In the 60s, he was like engaged to her sister. In the 90s, they met at a funeral. And in this one, they wanted to make them meet at high school. I'm not mad at it. It's just like, you could have done it better. Episode 6 is Wednesday's birthday, and she visits Crackstone Crypt for a surprise party. And gets distracted because like I think something happens at the end of the episode. I think someone burns like part of a phrase onto the lawn of Nevermore, and she sees those words in Crackstone's crypt, and then touches it, sees a vision, and she sees Goody. It says "Fire will rain" in Latin, and then the other part is it says "When I rise." It's Wednesday's birthday, and her parents hid her some taxidermy squirrels. Edie made her a snood. Love that. In her signature colors. And then we have like the mayor's son doing community service at Nevermore. And because of what happened at the Raven dance. Oh. I I nicknamed these guys in my notes and I was like BBX. What is BBX? Big Baby X, which is Xavier. Shows up and talks to Wednesday about her vision the night before. She doesn't really want to talk to him and didn't realize they were talking again because of what happened at the Raven dance. And he was like, I showed up at your surprise party. Oh, and then he gets mad when she doesn't want to speak with him and and tells him, I think you're the killer. She does like straight up say like, well, she doesn't really, I don't remember the exact wording. I didn't write that down. But she tells him like, I think you're the killer. And then Bianca notices Lucas. Oh, the mayor's son's name is Lucas. But he has like a Morningstar bracelet. And while he's volunteering, and he downloaded this app to kind of better himself because his dad was like, you gotta get your act together. You're embarrassing me in this town. I'm the mayor. You can't be doing this. And so he's like, I met this chick and she gave me this bracelet and told me about Morningstar. And Bianca's like, hey, delete that app. Get rid of that bracelet. Delete the app. It's a scam. It's a scam. I should know. She didn't say that part, but I put a side note. It puts a bad taste in my mouth when you have like two black characters in a show, and you're like, it'd be a great idea if we put these two together. Now, I'm not saying I want Bianca with Xavier, no, but she did want Xavier, and she tried to get back with him numerous times. She goes to visit him before the Poe Cup, and he asks her to the dance, and she's like, "You can just focus on us. We don't have to worry about anybody else." With Wednesday, you're still on all of that. So she still wanted him, but he couldn't trust her because she was a siren. And I don't know what went down with that, but I don't really care because now it's like there's two black characters. He might be a series regular. I don't know. He's been in a couple episodes, but he has been a terror the whole time. And that's another thing. You have a terror in the town who has been very cruel to the outcasts the whole time we've seen him. And then you pair him off with the queen bee, and we are supposed to be okay with that. Making the two black characters kind of not great people in the show. And yeah, Winston, Bianca, like both of them are kind of turning over a new leaf and becoming better people. But the fact that you had these two black characters be bad people, and they're the only two black teens in the show, I hate that so much. I hate it so much. And then you pair them together. Wednesday doesn't feel like celebrating her birthday. And part of the reason is because Eugene's in the hospital. And she thinks it's her fault that he's there. And one could say, yeah, it is. But I think a person more at fault is Thing. Because he made it so that she now has a date for dance. Even though she didn't want to go to the dance. And I think he knew that. The one good thing that came out of like the dance was that dress. That dress is beautiful. She got to have the dress. Like that's now in her like wardrobe. um, she's talking to Eugene at the hospital, and Miss Kimbot comes in and hears Wednesday talking about Goody, and then asks her about it. Wednesday says that she's a distant cousin, and Kay says seem she doesn't see you for who you really are. Well, Wednesday says, I want to assure you I remain as cold and heartless as the first day we met. And Kimbot's like, I doubt a cold, heartless person would be sitting by her Fred's bedside feeling some modicum of guilt for his condition. Which, yeah, that shows, like, Wednesday, it's not, I guess when you first, versus the first episode, we see her, would she have been at anyone's bedside? No. But she does have a little bit of growth happening. She's like, it's my fault he's there. He's here, and so she's visiting him. I do like that she visits him. I do like that. And she does, that's another thing about her, really. She doesn't, like, show affection, but she does the same way that others do. But she went to visit him in the hospital, and she talks to him, and then she also is taking care of the bees and, like, doing the honey, like, extruding the honey and all that stuff. Which I just think is, like, see, this is the Wednesday, like, I can get behind, where she may not, like, say, like, oh, this is my friend, this is my best friend, and all that other stuff, but she does things like that to show, like, she's part of the bee club, so she is doing that. But she's like, he's in the hospital. She could have just, like, not done taking care of the bees, and just went off and did her investigating. But she was still taking the time to do that, and I liked seeing that. And that's Addams Family right there. I don't know. Meanwhile, at the mayor's office, he is looking into a death certificate. He requested one from London because he is piecing together. He was a cop before, and he's, like, piecing things together. He's like, something's not right, and he knows it's with the Gates family. So he's like, because Laurel was shipped off to London and died there, and he's like, I want to investigate this a little bit more because of what's been going on. He's doing that, and what is the sheriff doing? The actual person who's supposed to be doing it, because that's not the mayor's job to be doing. You know, it's the sheriff's job. And what is he doing? Twiddling his thumbs and yelling at his kid, and then also avoiding his kid. Yeah, because it's like, his schedule sucks, because, like, every day he's spending all day at the office. There's only I don't know how many cops there are, but there's, like, you never at home. Like, when is your shift? Like, usually cops have the same shift. They don't, like, oh, I'm mornings one day, and then I'm afternoons another day. And maybe it's a small town, so they just, like, fill in spots when you're needed. But also, like, you're the sheriff. You should have, like, time where you're at home. Because every time he's at home, it's, like, different times. It's weird times, and he's doing I'm just like, what's your schedule, bro? Do you work 16-hour shifts every single day? You just have enough time to go home and sleep and then come back to work? So Tyler asks Wednesday out for her birthday, and she's kind of, like, not being very receptive to what he's saying, and he wants to know, like, have you been ghosting me? Because, like, we haven't been, I thought you liked me. This whole, like, love triangle thing that I do want to discuss, the love triangle, in a separate video. So I'm not going to harbor too much on it. And she doesn't really answer him, and so he's like, I guess I have my answer. And it's just like, you guys are so annoying. And then the sheriff walks in, and Wednesday goes to him to discuss more information about the fire that was burned into the lawn. and he doesn't take it seriously as usual. Like, dude, the thing is, at every single point, he doesn't take what she's saying seriously. And yes, she's a 16-year-old girl, but we're discussing crimes and she wants to know information on it. And you can say, I can't, he doesn't even say, I can't discuss ongoing investigations. He just kind of is just like, get this kid out of my face. And it's like, he doesn't even say, give any, like, canned response. Like, yeah, we're still investigating. We don't really have any, like, leads on anything. Doesn't give her anything. Oh, I have a question. Question. Continuity issues. Okay. Oh. This is a scene. There's this, when she goes to Xavier, he's flicking paint at a canvas. And then we turn around and we see the painting, because we do that kind of like eventually like a 360 of the room. And the painting that we're looking at doesn't have a single flick of paint. I'm like, what are you're doing? And the painting doesn't look like the painting that he's flicking on. And I was like, what? Bianca meets up with Lucas, wants to talk about... She wants someone to talk to and feel like they're on the same boat. They are in the same boat. They're in the exact same boat. They were in a stereotypical same boat. Honestly, they're in the same boat, whereas they're trying to improve themselves because they have done terrible things in the past and they want to change. And they're just the right person to do it with. And they also have like complicated relationship with their parents. Him because he was being a bad kid, and her because her mom is a scam artist. Actually, wait, I forgot to mention that there's 4 adults. I forgot to mention her mom as well, but she's only in 1 episode. The siren never changes their scales, and no matter how hard she tries, there will always be people who look down on me. And that's probably how she feels what happened with Xavier. And that's another reason why I really just like don't like that this is what we've done with the 2 black characters in the show. And then Lucas, most people think I'll never amount to anything. And I haven't done much to make them think differently. And I put in all caps, I really hate this trope. And stereotyping. That's my thoughts. I hate it. I hate it so much. Okay, this part right here. He trashed the dance because his dad was humiliated on outreach day and wanted payback. And I'm like, that's a very, like, teenagers are so, like, I'm like, that is such a dumb thing to do. Like, thousands of dollars worth of damage. I think it's both. That statue was probably thousands of dollars, but also, Crackstone was a very bad guy. He was a very bad guy, especially to outcasts. And if the outcasts are just like, hey, he was a very bad guy he was a racist. He's like the town racist who was like leading pitchforks, and he killed so many people in that fire, and they made a statue of him. You know? And so yeah, that statue deserved to be destroyed. And then you go to their dance as a date, and then you destroy everyone's outfits. You destroyed everything. The whole place was like decorated very nicely. It's like everyone's wearing like white and stuff, and it's just like, why did we do that? And it's just kind of just like, okay, that's your reason. So Wednesday goes to the Gates house, and I said, I totally get not wanting to be a slave to technology, but she should have at least had an old camera even if it meant she had to develop it in like one of those like red, the rooms where like their scene is like red, and she has to do all of that, like develop the pictures herself, or a Polaroid camera, just so she would have evidence to show what she's seen. Because when she goes to the Gates house, she sees the truck, the car that hit the mayor. She sees there's like a whole like cracked stone um altar. There we go. Like a cracked stone like altar, and like the candles are still warm. Like there's like take a picture of Laurel's room, because the bed's made. Like there's cobwebs all over the place, and yet her bed's made, and there's fresh flowers in there, and a music box with her name on it, her initials on it. There's like, and then going down to the basement, there's literal evidence of all like every victim, like every victim. There's a piece missing from them that's in the basement. But the next time we see it, it is cleared out, and it was cleared out fairly quickly, if we're being honest. And it's just like, hmm. But the mayor, she goes to enter the house. I did go jump a little ahead, but she goes to enter the house, but the mayor is there, and he calls the sheriff and wants to discuss something with him. He says he has an idea on who is behind everything. The thing that I really don't like about mysteries is that when people have like, key evidence to stretch the show a bit more, something bad has to happen to him. Eugene notices, I think he mentions boots, but I don't think he mentions red boots. But he mentions like these boots that he saw. The mayor is like, "Hey, I know, I can kind of see what happened here. Let's talk about it over like a piece of pie, I think, or something, like, at our usual spot." He gets hit by a car. Thing distracts him, so then Wednesday gets into the car, and she's there when he gets hit by the car. The mayor gets hit before he can talk to the sheriff. I think the only person he would listen to is the mayor, the sheriff. Especially like getting to this part. This sheriff is so annoying, and it's no wonder he couldn't see his kid was the killer. Oh my gosh. Yeah. How did he even get the job, and why bother getting Wednesday's statement if you're not going to take it seriously? Which is just like, yeah, no, yeah, I stand by that. There are literal gorgons, sirens, and werewolves in town, but believing in ghosts is way too far-fetched. I think in her statement she said something. I can't remember what she said, but I don't care about that. I want to focus on the fact that this sheriff is like, seriously? Because I think I don't know. I don't know I can't remember what she says, but he doesn't take what she's saying seriously. And it's like, why are you like, you have like the recorder here, you're like, go ahead, tell me what happened. And then she says it, and he's like, seriously? He doesn't take her seriously at all. And it's like, yes, she's 16, but we literally, like, at one episode prior, she solved the murder that you accuse her father of, and yet you still can't take her seriously, which is so annoying. And then, I have this thing that I started gathering as I was watching, called suspicious behavior, which I kind of want to do a video on all the suspicious behavior that I written down. But I'm just going to do this one. Miss Thornhill talking to Wednesday afterwards. after her privileges are taken away, trying to encourage her to pursue other interests. It's like, maybe this is your time to stop focusing on this. It's none of your business. Huh? What? I did share my side quest. I want to talk about the sheriff and Tyler's relationship. So Wednesday tells Tyler she wants to reconsider like the whole birthday thing, and then she is way off campus. So she goes to Enid and says, "We never did get to celebrate. We need to do a birthday redo." And she manipulates both of her friends to get her to go to the Gates house. And I was like, girls' night out versus a date. Neither. Going to a creepy house while Xavier shows up at their window to talk to Wednesday. And then Wednesday ends up telling him where she is. Okay, this right here gets me. Both Tyler and Enid have phones. Why didn't they take photos as proof to take to the police? We know why Tyler didn't do it, because he's guilty. But Enid, and she is kind of scared in this, and there is all that. But getting some photo, especially since Tyler, in theory, was at some point friends with the bullies of the outcasts, because he was going through a rough time after his mom died, and he fell down the wrong path, and he didn't really leave it. He just went to therapy, and it still went that path. Just was more secretive about it. Anyway, and I was like, all caps. This is why Wednesday needs a phone. They find a car that they found the car that hit the mayor, but didn't have a photo. Ugh, kids. And I was like, photos are time stamped. So if you take it on an iPhone, like it has like, oh, this is when you took the photo. Yes, you'll get in trouble for being out of where you're supposed to be, but at least you have like the evidence of what happened and what was going on. Enid wants to call the cops. Wednesday doesn't, because she'll be expelled. Also, again, they don't take her seriously. Bro, I can't read this. Oh man, we're skipping it. That's what it says. Ah! I figured it out. It says often. It looks like often. It says after. So, after finding the candles are still warm in the secret altar of Crackstone in the library, Wednesday and Enid go upstairs to look around, and Tyler looks downstairs when he is attacked. Enid finds a room that has no cobwebs, and the bed is made, and calls Wednesday and to investigate. And it says, looks like someone moved back into their old room. When Enid says that, and I said little detective. She's like, and it's really, I like that she is not doing any, like, she just walks in and is like, I think someone moved back into their old room, because the bed's made, and it's not like hard to investigate, but this room specifically, and then you find out it's Lowell Gates' room, and because she's like the only, everybody else is like, and it's like, it's not possible, everyone's dead, but are they? Is that possible? She died 25 years ago, drowned overseas. When they says, Tyler yells out, he's here, before the monster makes an appearance. I said suspicious behavior, and we don't hear or see Tyler again until they're outside. Wednesday, gets in the dumbwaiter, and then go into the basement, and they find different body parts in jars, where they again fail to take pictures of eye roll. They escape out the basement and head back to find Tyler. When Xavier shows up, suspicious behavior. for on his part. I'm like too obvious to be true. And then another suspicious behavior. Tyler's scars look self-inflicted because like the scars are like just like perfectly like this, and they kind of just like stop here, and they're not like as deep as he can the monster can go, because we've seen him be able to like rip open like bellies, and the scar, like we've seen it happen a few times, quite a few times in the show, and yet it's just like, you see, he doesn't usually, the monster goes for the belly because that's where all the like vital organs are. I mean, you go for the, but in this he goes like right up here, just like just little. Wednesday tries to show the sheriff what they found, and unfortunately all the evidence is gone. He, of course, doesn't believe her and forbids her from seeing Xavier. He doesn't even look for fingerprints or anything. He is such a bad cop. He also forbids her from looking further into the case, which to me could be suspicious behavior. Wednesday convinces Weems to let her stay. Side note, Wednesday's obvious autism. Enid and Wednesday fight, and Enid ends up staying in Yoko's room. And Wednesday starts to feel bad for how she treated Enid. Wednesday finds out someone's stalking her and has pictures in LG's music box. And then someone kills the mayor. Episode 7 starts off with the mayor's funeral, and Uncle Fester shows up, and we see Wednesday smile for the very first time, like full-on smile, not like a little smirk here and there, a full-on teeth-showing smile, and it was really great to see. Like, she was genuinely so happy to see her uncle, especially after everything that's been happening. It's so nice to see a friendly face, and we got to see that joy that we rarely see with her. And then he ends up telling her about Faulkner's diary that's located in the Nightshades library, because he talks about he knew a hide when he was in the asylum, and yeah, so she goes to investigate, obviously, and Xavier is there, and she doesn't want to talk to him, as usual. This stupid love triangle doesn't make any sense. And then he proceeds to tell her how she doesn't know her real friends and how he's been super nice to her. And I was like, Xavier is the obvious choice on the villain, which is why it doesn't make sense for it to be him. He is there during every encounter Wednesday has had with the creature, and he has been drawing the creature like non-stop. And he knew where he lived. So he's like, I know he knows a lot of information on. He has a lot of suspicious things that are happening that make him seem like he's the killer. This is the only time I'm really defending Xavier, guys. The only time. Because it's so obvious because he is there, but there's also another person who's always there, and this is the stupid love triangle. Or it's like supposed to be there when things go down. And that's what she like kind of fails to see because of this stupid love triangle. It's one of the two. It had to, during this love triangle, the love triangle is kind of crazy because of like, it's one of these two guys. Like magnets. She's just, like, bad people are just drawn to her. Not Enid. Enid's like a ray of sunshine, and maybe this is my counteracting to suspicious behavior. He has also said that he has visions and he can draw. So he draws. Oh, to kind of go into the point why it's so obvious, why it's too obvious that it's for it to be him, is the fact that he has mentioned to her that he has visions because his dad has visions, and that they're unreliable and all that stuff. But then he goes down, he would have like a bad dream that's a vision because the way his visions manifest is when he's sleeping. So he'll dream about it, and then he'll go to his art studio, and then he'll draw what he saw and he has been seeing the creature a lot. So he's been drawing the creature a lot. So in one of his visions, he's seen the cave, the vision that the monster was in, and the hide was in. And so that's, I'm like, that's just like my in defense of him. Okay, that's over. No more defending him. Wednesday tells Xavier all the reason why she thinks he is the creature, and then he gets defensive, which doesn't help his case. And he asks why he hadn't killed her, and she's like, because you have a crush on me. And he's like, what's to like? Quote, actual quote. And then he leaves. And then Fester comes in and it's like, well, all the tension, and I'm just like, he had a lot of tension, yes. She's just like unfazed, like completely unfazed by him. Also, I said, I get him being upset that the girl he likes thinks he is the villain, but his responses prevent me from being overly sympathetic for him. He doesn't handle rejection well and takes it out on everyone. He could have asked her how he can prove that he is not the monster or help with her investigation by explaining point for point on why he's not the creature. Oh, I'm hilarious. I said, not Uncle Fester feeling tension between Wednesday and Enid, angry face, while eavesdropping. Oh, I said, I do like that they made Fester electrical, like the tension. You can actually see the shocks and stuff. Because it does feel very on par with the 60s. Another point against X, hides are artists by nature. And doesn't and Tyler doesn't show any artistic behavior aside from her birthday latte drink. I mean, that we've seen, that I can remember anyway. He discovers that there are, and then we discover that there are two killers, Hyde and the Master. My side note, the Hyde, I know the Hyde is from like Jekyll and Hyde, like we know the story. Also, I mostly know the story because of Arthur, and there's like a whole song on Jekyll and Hyde that the brain did because he was reading the book. But it really feels like they made the Hyde to be the big bad, and you'd be like, that's the point. And it's like, yeah, but they focus so much on the Hyde itself that we don't really get to see much on the others, like the other outcasts. Like, there's an outcast who doesn't have a face, you know, like a blank face. And like, out of all of the like outcasts that we've seen, that's an outcast. You know, like, that's very different from, because everyone else like relatively looks the same. Like, when you put a Gorgon in one of them stupid hats, it looks like a regular guy. A vampire got some shades on. Yeah, I'm sensitive to the sunlight too, and I would like to have like as dark a shades as possible, legally possible, when I go outside. So like, again, looking relatively normal. The sirens, they have like light colored eyes, so that's like they were like telling trait, and sometimes when they're in water you can see the scales like reflecting on her hands, but again, not very noticeable. Outcast with no face. Also, I really think the reason why they did this with the Monster High live action movie, where they just have like the Gorgons wearing hats, because of like the whole CGI thing. And no, guys, commit. If we can get bad CGI in Once Upon a Time for the budget that they got, $3 in a Dream, just have him wearing that, and just have him wearing glasses. Oh, we had the vampires wearing glasses, so they can't also wear glasses. I don't know, like, you guys are making things up. They're wearing glasses for very different reasons. You guys have, like, movie budget. You're making a TV show with movie budget. Make something happen. Pull some strings, because the siren, like, I don't like what they did with the siren. Like, being red. Why not, like, a nice, like, blue, or just make it look like a little smoke or something? Make it look more subtle. They just, like, red coming out their mouth. That was, like, weird. Anyway, you don't really get a lot on them. The show is about Wednesday, and Wednesday's focused on the Hyde because the Hyde's the killer, and doesn't really get to know any of the other like members, which kind of go with the storyline. But as a viewer, I'm more interested in the one with no face, and because we don't even know what Eugene can do until the last episode, and I really hate that trope when like they take a person out for most of the movie, the TV show, and then have them come in last episode, guns blazing. Like, oh yeah, no, because they did that with like you watched No Narnia, Lion Witch and the Wardrobe, where like Aslan just comes in, like the illustrious, like the mysterious like lion comes. He does this. He like gets killed, and then he comes back and saves the day. Or like Superman when he does it in like an Avenger movie, Justice League movie. It's like, okay, guys, I don't like that trope. Thornhill tells Wednesday that Enid has decided to room with Yoko. Suspicious behavior on Thornhill. I think Thornhill goes to Wednesday to distract her from her investigation because she feels like kinship with her and doesn't want her to have to heal her. That's just my thoughts. Seems to get noticeably upset when Wednesday it doesn't take the bait that she's like dropping for her. Suspicious behavior on Xavier's part. He's like on the phone he's on the phone with his therapist, but no one knows at the time because he has to be in the secret that he's seeing a therapist. Because his dad's like, hey, I have this image and you're kind of ruining it. Go to therapy, but shh. Which honestly is just like, there's so many bad parents in this show. Wednesday wants to talk to Weems about Dr. Kimbot, but she's there to discuss like her case and stuff, and she's like, oh yeah, we tried some hypnotherapy to find the real me, unlock the inner Wednesday. And then Kimbot agrees. Wednesday goes off to do homework, and I'm like, literally, she's never in class. Like I've seen her in one class, and that was plant class. And yes, she did fencing the first episode, but I wasn't sure if that was fencing club or fencing class. Like gym, like a gym class credit. I don't know, because she's never there. She carries a backpack. Is there a single book in that backpack? No. It's just a way to carry thing. It's like a little like doggy bag, little where you can carry your dog around. That's basically what it is. Nancy has the book with her, and Tyler sees it and suspicious behavior. Probably tells his master that someone may be on to them and has the book, and it gets stolen later on. Side note. Now, because Wednesday thinks that Xavier is the killer, she has no issues with discussing the case with Tyler. So she ends up like telling him essentially everything that she's discovered about the Hyde, and even lets him look at the book. And then later on, the book gets stolen after she hasn't discussed it with Enid. She hasn't discussed it. She's discussed it with Fester, but it's not Uncle Fester. She discussed it with Tyler. And yes, Xavier did know that she was in the library. Did he know why she was there? No. I mean, I think he thought she was investigating, but didn't know that she knew about the secret, like, place where the diary is or anything like that. He doesn't know that she has the diary, and yet the diary goes missing, and she only talked about it with two people, and it goes right over her head that she's discussed it with two people, and one of them ends up telling someone else to go steal it, and Thing gets hurt in the process. And I was like, why did Wednesday let Tyler get a closer look at the book? Number one, and number two, why doesn't she see him as a potential high? And I was like, and her putting all her eggs into one basket so soon isn't the best idea. Because you're doing an investigation, you got to keep it broad, and like anyone could still be it, even though you have like a lead. You don't have enough evidence that it could be them, and yes, focusing energy on that could be it. But also, when you focus too hard on it, you kind of miss that the killer is standing right next to you, Bella. She says to Tyler that his dad told her to stay away from him, and his dad obviously shows up, and yeah, and he's on his break and discusses the knowledge with the hide. Suspicious behavior. Tyler asks her for a redo for a date that night. And oh, red flag, scheduling a date for the same day. And what do I know? Because that's like one of the things that they always were talking about in TV shows and movies and stuff. Whenever they're like, oh, he asked me out on a date. It's like, oh, he asked me out on a date. When is it? Tonight. And he asked you today? It's like, yeah. Is that wrong? And everybody's like, yes. It took no thought into it. It's just like, oh yeah, it was. And we know that he likes her, but he didn't have anything planned before seeing the diary, because he was supposed to be staying away from her. And I was like, he's asking for a redo for a date, and that would be the perfect time for someone to go into her room, because Enid's not in there. And the only one who would be there is Thing, and it's the perfect time for someone to just like go in and take the diary. And he has like plausible deniability because he was with her the whole time, so it couldn't be her, even though she now knows that there's two people involved, which means it's the other person. And yeah, this is the only time I'm defending Tyler. Okay, I've only defended Xavier once. I'm only defending him once. I would admit I thought the date was really great, but everything surrounding it puts a bad taste in my mouth, because he only asked her on that. He likes her, yes, which is like one excuse, but also he got her out of the room after seeing the diary, and Thing gets hurt, almost dies for this diary, and just to and I'm just like, that puts a bad taste in my mouth. It was like, the date's cute, yes, I liked the date, but the fact that that was the reason why I don't like that. I put side note, it's all caps diabolical to call Legally Blonde a horror film. P.S. I'm glad Tyler's terrible dad interrupted their kiss. Yeah. This conversation pisses me off. There's a reason why I wrote the entire conversation down. I paused after every single one to write this down, so I'm not going to act it out, so don't expect that. I did actually end up back in the day use the audio, because the audio was on TikTok. I'm gonna say T and W just to make this shorter. T, I want to see more than friends. W, don't snap out of it. T, don't do that. Discount my feelings. W, I'm not friend material, let alone more than friend material. I'll ignore you, stop in your heart, and always put my needs and interests first. T, Yeah, you can keep trying to push me away. I think it's not gonna work. I forgot. I think I missed something. W. I almost killed you. T. I survived. W. Beginner's luck. And I put suspicious behavior. T. I tougher than you think. Yeah, because you hurt the hide. W. You're making a mistake as he goes in for a kiss. T. Probably. W. Definitely. It does piss me off that she goes in for the kiss too. The only time I'm happy. The only time I'm happy to see the sheriff. All this went on. Meanwhile, Thing is getting stabbed. This is the second time someone Wednesday cares for gets injured because of Tyler. And it's the second time. Strike two, bro. Strike two. Actually, technically, it could be strike three because she does see Tyler as a friend, and Tyler was there, but Tyler was the one who did that, so we're just gonna ignore that. Both because he is the bad guy, and because she left them alone to be with him, which I have like a little angry face that I made. Actually, it's supposed to be like flames, like my eyes are flames because I'm that mad. But I'm not an artiste. So I was like, yeah, so it's because Eugene gets injured when she goes to the dance. And like, so it's one number one, he was there. And then number two, he was the one who injured him. And then we have like Thing is in the room and she is out of the room and Tyler's there. But Tyler is the reason why someone broke into her room to steal the diary and he got stabbed. So it's like, girl, I don't know, like she's seeing him as a friend and possibly more. But it's just like, dude, it's right there. Anyway, Wednesday comes back to her room, discover that it's been trashed, and Thing's been stabbed. Fester manages to revive him, and we see her crying for the first time since she was a small child, since her scorpion died. This starts discussing the hide with Weems, and Weems dismisses Thornhill because Thornhill is a normie at the school, and she's like, I can't be revealing too much to this normie. Like, even I do like that she had the mindset's like, this is a normie. She's not on my side. Like, we have this right program to have her in school, but she's not one of us. I'm not going to relay any information while she can hear me talking about it. I do like that thought process. Plus, also, she's the villain. So, I do like that. And then she explains what she knows after she's gone. Blah, blah, blah. I literally wrote that down. Bianca goes to Wednesday with information on the mayor's murder. He was investigating the death of Laurel Gates. She secretly bought her old house, and now she wants revenge on those she blamed for her family's death. Wednesday thinks Kimbot is Laurel and goes to confront her about it. When Kimbot becomes upset that Wednesday thinks she's a killer. Well, thinks that she's the killer and ends up calling Weems. And she's becoming upset, and honestly, rightfully so, because she literally isn't. And she does have like a little bit of quirks and things that make her like suspicious. The thing that I really like about Kimbot is that she does like have her little like taxidermy like hobby, which like I think her having a taxidermy hobby could on and she had them out for display when Wednesday is there, could have had them connect a little small connection with her. I don't know, because her room is like all white and Wednesday wears like all black, and I don't know, I think the like dynamic would have been really great if they didn't kill her off. Honestly, for the plot, they did it for the plot, and honestly I just like, because I liked her. I did. I liked her, especially since she was helping with Eugene's mom's going through their rough time, and she was actually a really good person, and that is the whole point about the show, is like, I don't know. But I like that she was a taxidermist. And she had made these little scenes and stuff. I thought that was really cool. And yeah. And been in the town. She's been in the town for a while because she's been. I think all the taxidermy stuff was like a local artist. I think she was a local artist who was doing it because we actually saw her like making, fiddling around with one, and I liked Kimbot, especially like knowing that was her hobby, and she was like just I don't know if she was selling them to that one place that Enid and that one guy was at or not, but a local artist was selling it. Maybe she was like putting them in there and they get sold, and then she gets like a little bit of commission for it. I don't know, but I did like that Kimbot was the one who was doing it. I honestly think it would have been cool if Kimbot for Wednesday's birthday, which she has in the files, she knows her birthday, would have given her taxidermy something for her birthday. I don't know. I think that would have been really sweet. That should have been in the show. That's what we needed. A little bit of like camaraderie with their love of taxidermy. Kimbot calls Weems after Wednesday leaves to discuss, thinking, hey, I think she needs, and it could be seen as suspicious behavior with this, about Wednesday needing to like go somewhere because she's kind of off her rocker. It would be suspicious behavior if she didn't die. I think her dying kind of made her not the master anymore, especially since the Hyde is, as far as we know so far, they don't kill their masters, and has convinced herself that he was. Something that's also crazy is that Tyler reveals back in like I think the first episode that he also sees Dr. Kimbot. So the love triangle are all going to the same doctor. They're all going to the same doctor, and Wednesday is still like, no, it's 100. If she is suspecting that Kimbot is the master of the Hyde, there is another option because Tyler's right there. Tyler's right there. And I don't know how Hydes work in this realm. From what I know about Jekyll and Hyde, not much, guys. Because I know what I know comes from Monster High and one Arthur episode. But the thing about only way I can kind of like get why she doesn't think that he is the Hyde is because of the two personalities. Because he seems like a really nice guy when she first met him. Whereas not Tyler, Xavier kind of was not giving great vibes from the moment we see him. He is not giving great vibes. Also, like, another reason why I personally think that she shouldn't be obviously suspecting that it is an outcast, like a traditional outcast, is because what if Weems has been saying? If it gets out that it's an outcast, then the school is done. Everyone it displaces all of these kids, and where the kids go to school afterwards. So they just had to go back to regular school, and I don't think it would have been great for all of them to be there because like Enid said, some of them have been there for decades, which kind of makes it feel like it's like a jail. I don't know. But it would be to me too obvious for it to be an outcast, especially since it's only one outcast was attacked in it. And it's like, well, why aren't they attacking more outcasts? And I feel like they're not attacking more outcasts because of the town's hatred for outcasts. And if you like, one way to get rid of the outcasts isn't to just like just kill them all off, but also to make the town. If you're killing only normies, it brings the attention to the outcasts, and so it makes it like hey, it's obviously an outcast because they're only attacking normies, and there's one kid who's an outcast, but we don't even know what he does. So he kind of is like normie. We don't know what he is until the end. And so it's just like, it's too obvious for it to be an outcast. So you picking an outcast. Yes, he is out. Turns out he is like part outcast because his mom is an outcast. But we don't know his like lineage until the end. And so it's just like, I don't know. After Kimbot is killed, I think it does upset Wednesday because she does have like she's building this case against Kimbot and thinking that she actually is the bad guy, and so she's like, but then she dies, so it kind of like puts like she starts second guessing what's going on, and then she's like, okay, I'm shutting this down. No one else is going to die because of this hide. So she goes to Xavier's like art studio and starts asking him questions, and then she starts finding, this is why it's too on the nose, guys, it's too obvious. Starts seeing like bits of like suit, not like, kind of like jewelry, or like little pieces of the victims, like the glasses, Kimbot's necklace, just like certain, like just a small few trinkets from the victims. And it's like, well, he's like, whoa, how did this get in here? I didn't do this. Like, I didn't know. I don't know what's happening. He gets arrested. And after, she feels like, oh, great. I solved the case. I've cracked the case. She goes to see Tyler, gets a kiss, finds out, oops, I put the wrong person in jail. I put the wrong one in jail. Because, like, right as he's just got there. Oops, find out the actual killer. Which is, like, so, like, it's so, like, traditional, like, murder mystery to me. Is, like, kind of like, yeah, that happened. Yeah. Right after an arrest happens, the true killer gets revealed, and it's like, yeah. Anyway, episode 8. I have a lot less on episode 8. Wait, whoa. Actually, no, I don't. I still have a lot on episode 8. I don't know what I was thinking. Because it's from the back of 15 all the way to 20. So she ends up calling, talking to Tyler, and they end up meeting at this abandoned place in the woods. Like, it looks like a mausoleum. I don't know. And she confronts him about him being the hide. And he puts up a good, like, front. He's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. You're starting to sound kind of insane. Which he's starting to say phrases that Kimbot was saying. Which makes sense because he was in the bathroom when she went to go see Kimbot. Which is why Kimbot ended up dying. Because he was in the room when it happened. And he's there every single time the beast is there. Because he's the beast, obviously. But both K and T are saying the same things when confronted by Wednesday, and only one person is being truthful, suspicious behavior, because he was in the bathroom when Kimbot was killed. Something that's crazy, and the reason why, another thing that I just thought of, that's not in my notes, Kimbot gets killed. Wednesday is gone when Kimbot gets killed. But if the sheriff had any brain cells worth rubbing together to get a clue, it's during his own kid's therapy appointment. And if there's any cameras rolling around, you can look at the evidence. There's got to be a camera even across the street to witness who went into that building, Who came out of that building? What ended up happening? How did she get killed by the monster? If we saw Wednesday go in and we saw Tyler go in. And it wasn't Wednesday. 1 + 1 = it, and that's why I have theories. And also, he's a bad cop. Oh, this is another Wednesday hates her mom thing. Wednesday shows Tyler a photo of the fencing team, and she was talking about how she's like, perhaps if I hadn't been so distracted by my own mother hogging this photo, she would have noticed that his mom is also in the photo because she went to Nevermore because she is a Hyde. The Hyde is triggered by a traumatic experience. My guess is hers. I think it mentioned like her postpartum depression, the death of his mother. While interrogating Tyler, Gorgon guy gets a text from Enid saying Thornhill is getting suspicious. But Wednesday starts to torture Tyler, and everyone gets a little uncomfortable and calls Weems, and then the sheriff shows up, and they go to the office. She gets taken to the sheriff's office, but he doesn't press charges. But in order for her to not press charges, she has to be like kicked out of the school. But suspicious behavior on the sheriff. We finally have one on the sheriff. Wednesday gave him a claw and asked him to do a DNA match with Xavier's blood. Did he do it? Did he actually take the two things? Did he finagle with the evidence? Did he make things up? Did it match? Or did he find out it was Tyler and has been covering for him this whole time? I was like, because like there's only like certain things that he could do. Like she gave him the evidence. It's like, hey, I got this claw from where the monster was. She actually like brought the evidence to him. Here, like on a silver platter. Here, this is the claw from the monster. Here, and it's like, here it is. And then comes back, here's blood from my who I think it is. Does DNA match? He doesn't even tell her if the DNA is match or not. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't do any investigating. He just kind of like drives around and pretends to do stuff. He's a terrible, terrible, terrible cop. And so that's why I got my suspicious thinking. Like, the reason why he's just looking like he's doing stuff, and he really wants to pin it on the outcast, because I think he also hates the outcast. He hates the outcast. He might even hate the outcast because he loves his wife, but because her wife was an outcast, and she ended up being a Hyde, and she died. I don't know how. I don't know if he had ended up being the one to do it, or if she ended it herself. I don't know what happened, but he was very distraught over it, and I think that's also put a bad taste in his mouth for Outcast in general, especially also when you think about for so many years, 32 years, he thought that Gomez, who is considered an outcast, murdered this normie boy. You know, it's just like you have a prejudice against outcasts. I don't think you should be the sheriff. I don't think you have what it takes, because you have so many prejudices against the outcast that you're only looking into it being one of them, that you're not even looking into normies in town. And it has to be one of them. It can't be my kid, who you pay no attention to. As Wednesday leaves, Tyler asks to speak to her, where he reveals everything. And this is the part I wrote down. Reveals everything while a cop is 2 feet away. So she did, and she didn't hear anything he said. He didn't hear a single, and he's not talking like whispering. He's just talking softly, and the room is quiet. There's not like other things going on. We don't hear like a phone call in the background. it's like the noise kind of, there's nothing happening, and he's not far away from maybe a yard, giving them like a yard away from each other. She's not doing anything. She's not even typing, pretending like she's focusing on something. She's not on the phone or anything. And she can't hear him confessing everything. All y'all cops need to be fired. W gets expelled from Nevermore, and she tells Weems everything she knows. And of course, because of their rocky relationship, Weems doesn't believe anything she says. She's like, I wish I could believe you, but I can't. The next day, oh, oh, Wednesday goes to Tyler, but Tyler doesn't want to talk to her because she's the reason he's in jail. But when you think about it, like the way her evidence was stacked against him, yeah, but also he was acting suspicious. But he didn't deserve to go to jail. Next day, Wednesday, says her goodbyes. Eugene wakes up in the all caps in episode 8. Bianca and the Nightshades apologize for Wednesday getting expelled. Eugene reveals he saw red boots. Wednesday goes to see Thornhill manipulated Tyler and quote unquote, not really quote unquote, told him the truth about his mother. Which, how do you know the truth about his mom? I mean, yes, she does have like in the little flashbacks we see, she's like showing like, oh yeah, she was a hide. All these things happened, and tries to basically says it's the outcast's fault for all that his mom is the way he was. And well, on one hand, yes, but on the other hand, no. It's not the Nevermore student's fault that your mom was a hide. Her parents, one of her family members, one of her parents was a hide, and one of their parents was a hide, and they just kind of like followed down the line. You're a hide too. Honestly, I'm making up some crazy stuff in my head because I don't like the mayor, not the mayor, the sheriff. I was like, what if he was her master and unlocked her? That's crazy, isn't it? Is it? Is it? I don't know. My little crazy crack theories. That's a crack theory. That's a crack theory. That I don't feel like it's too far off though, based on what we've seen. He's a terrible cop. He's stuck on 32 years ago, like crimes. Like, he's like, I hate all the outcasts because one did something. And I'm like, do you hate all humans because one did something, like killed someone? Like, what? Anyway, I do think it's very interesting that we have the different races. We have the outcasts and we have the normies. And we give like, is what, the allegory? Yeah, allegory for racism. Wednesday being an allegory for racism is so interesting when there's actual racism in the show. It's kind of crazy to me when you think about it. When you think about it, no, because like, oh, like we don't trust the outcasts, and the outcasts, they were like burned in Goody's time. I don't know what time period that was. And now they're still being hated and then being accused of serious crimes. So nothing has changed really. But also, side quest, we actually have two black characters who get like terrible roles and are gonna end up together. It's interesting. It's interesting. If someone told me I hate this show, I would be like, fair. Fair. I can't blame you. I don't blame you, honestly. Because when you see what's happening. And the thing is really crazy to me, is that people will have more sympathy for these outcasts than they would for the black people in the show. But anyway, we're moving on. We're gonna move on. Weems and Wednesday formulate a plan together. And when Weems makes herself look like Tyler, and then when she reveals that she is after like Thornhill Laurel talks about like everything. She like talks about everything, reveals everything, as the villain always does. Um, Weems reveals herself to be Tyler, gets herself stabbed with nightshade poisoning, and dies on the spot. Which Weems and Kimbot's murders just feel like too much, you know? Because now we need. Now, thing is, we now need a new therapist for the town because she was the only one. Because all of the troublemakers are going to the same therapist. Number one. Two, we need a new mayor. He's dead. That one, we need a new sheriff because his son was a serial killer. Are we really going to let him stay the sheriff? We need a new uh, headmaster for Nevermore. So basically, we need a whole new cast. Um, and we need a new teacher for Nevermore because one of them was the mastermind behind killing a bunch of people. So yeah, yay! Again, if someone said I hate this show so much, I and it sounds like I do too, but I just maybe I do. I don't know. I just have a lot of things I want to discuss, and this video is probably going to be 16 hours long, but it's fine. So Enid and Wednesday made up at some point. I didn't write it down in my notes. Maybe I did and just didn't read it. But they made up some point after Thing gets stabbed because of all of the crazy things that happened, and they had to stick together. And she's like, I'm not apologizing for being who I am. And it's like, cool. When Enid is making out with Gorkin guy, I can't think of his name at all. I've drawn a blank and I can't look up information right now because information right now going on to the like Google to look up the characters' names is going to reveal stuff, and I'm not trying to be spoiled. Enid's nails are starting getting like sharp. She like she's kissing, and then all of a sudden her nails like come out, and they like take a break, and then Eugene calls and tells her that Wednesday and Weems went to confront Thornhill because she's the bad guy. And then Thing comes in and tells her that that Weems is dead and Wednesday has been taken by Thornhill. And then Eugene goes after Wednesday because Hive Code. And I love Eugene. And that's why it made me so mad that they like just cut him out of the show. And to the last episode. The last episode. Guys. So annoying. Wednesday is in Crackstone's crypt when Tyler shows up and Thornhill reveals that she is direct descendant to Crackstone and wants to resurrect him, and she stole Goody's grimoire. No. And then Wednesday ends up making Wednesday help revive the Crackstone. Dumb Sheriff. I have so many good nicknames for this guy. If he believes Xavier is the Hyde, why is he in a cop car driving around with him by himself and no escorts? He's literally okay. So the Hyde can turn into a monster big enough to like shred the car. Like he turns huge. He becomes like 3 or 4 times his normal size, and he's just in there by himself. Yeah, he has like the chains on, but we see later on that they kind of go a little bit more heavy-handed with all that. He's just in the cop car by himself. He doesn't even have like a partner or anything. He's just driving around. I think he's driving him. I can't remember where I don't even know where he's driving him right now, but he's driving him in the cop car by himself with no one else in the car with him, which is really dumb. And like the cop, you really believe that this guy is, and okay, okay. So you're putting yourself at risk and making your son an orphan because you believe that this, okay. Oh, so something ends up happening at Nevermore, and someone calls the cops, and the cops can't get to Nevermore, so they call the only cop car that wasn't destroyed, which is his car, and it's like, hey, we need you to go. Something's going down at Nevermore. We need you to go check it out. He literally has a potential hide in his car. You know, the one that's going around killing people, and then I was like, he has to go to Nevermore with no backup and a potential hide in his car. And this man is an idiot. Well, I was like, I really hate when normies can do magic. This is just a side note. I really hate when normies can do magic just because they read it in a book. Like, I think the thing that separates like normies from outcasts is that normies are just like regular people, and normies and outcasts can be werewolves. They're sirens. Like they have abilities, and if a normie such as Laurel Gates slash Thornhill can do magic just because they read it out of a grimoire, it really takes away the fact that that you have issues with outcasts. Like, can you not see that you are part of, like, you're reading an outcast grimoire and you're using her magic like you've read from her book to revive this man just to eliminate the outcast. Especially when you are in a paranormal story. Like, yeah, I hate when like it's paranormal and a normie can just like, oh yeah, if I read this book right here, I can do magic. Then what makes magical people magical in a show if a regular person can still do magic? And that really gets me. I feel like there has to be something that separates them. If any random person can do magic, it makes no sense. It takes away from why do you even have magical people in the first place? Why do you have witches in the first place if any random person can just do it? There's nothing special about. Then what makes them an outcast? What makes them an outcast? If like any regular person can just do it. Crackstone gets awakened. He stabs Wednesday. Enid meets the Nightshades and is mad at Gorgon guy for not telling her he is in a secret group. They make a plan to get everyone out of Nevermore while Enid and Thing look for Wednesday. Goody revives Wednesday but says, I'm going to do this for you, but you'll never be able to see me again afterwards. Which means that she no longer has any help for her visions. She has no way of being able to control her visions. Unless, of course, in season 2. We don't know. I don't know what DS is. Oh, dumb sheriff. I forget that after writing, I've created a name, I just used the initials. Dumb Sheriff is headed for Nevermore when he stops in the middle of the street because he's tracking his son, Tyler, and his son is in the woods. And he's like, why is my kid in the woods? So he goes to investigate. He leaves a potential killer, a potential serial killer, who's also potentially a hide, in the car by himself with no one else. He goes to investigate by himself. He has no backup. Like, there's no cops coming. He's just driving around by himself. And leaves the potential, serial killer in the car. Yes, he's chained. But I'm pretty sure if he was to hide, he can get out. Oh, look, it's really funny. Xavier says you're tracking your little monster. Just a little funny comment because his kid is a monster. Then dumb sheriff, gets out of the car again, leaving a potential dangerous person alone when he goes to look for his son. This man is so dumb, it's crazy how he became a cop, let alone sheriff. I mean, honestly. Running in the woods to Wednesday, Enid starts her first shift, and then Wednesday makes it out and runs into Tyler, who turns into the Hyde, and then Enid is a full werewolf and attacks Tyler. While Crackstone and Thornhill head to Nevermore, Thing lets Xavier out of the cop car because he was left unattended. Eye roll. When I say these like certain things, I have pictures of it. Like I have a little picture of eyes rolling. Dumb sheriff sees Tyler and Enid fighting and goes to him when he sees he is back in as himself. Thing makes it back to Enid as she de-transforms and they're holding hands, and I just thought that was a really sweet moment because they're besties. They're best friends. Wednesday goes to fight Crackstone. Tyler tries to help, but she tells him go. Bianca ends up saving Wednesday, which is a great moment. I love seeing that. Wednesday ends up doing the final blow, and Crackstone's gone. And then Thornhill shows up, and Eugene ends up stopping her with bees. Enid heads back to the school, and Gorgon guy spots her. She asks for Wednesday. And then spots her, runs to her, and that's when they get the most iconic hug we've ever seen in cinematic history. I didn't write that down, but that's essentially what I was saying. When Wednesday finished her novel, and I was like, Enid lives in San Francisco, because they're on the East Coast. I think it's Massachusetts because all of the license plates say Massachusetts on it. So I'm thinking they live in Massachusetts, but just on the other side of whatever. Also, something that's crazy is they have like werewolves and stuff, like especially like when you really think about it, they have like werewolves living in San Francisco, like a giant city, instead of like on the outskirts or like near the woods. They have them in the city. Whatever. And then things are just getting wrapped up. Wednesday gets a phone from Xavier. Like she did really need one, if only for investigating. Mysterious text comes through, and this reveals the stalker. T wakes up in the back of the car on his way to prison, but at least there were more people in the car. But I also think that's a bad idea because there could be more potential victims, and maybe he could escape. I don't know if that's what happens, but I have seen some things. But those are my thoughts on season 1 of Wednesday. Well, like the full like arc of like the episodes. I still want to talk about certain things with the show, but those are like the main things that I wanted to discuss, like plot wise. I had a lot. This one is like 2 hours long before I edit it down. I don't know how much I want to cut from it, but I did have a lot of thoughts and I wanted to talk about it. And I am excited for season 2, but I did have a lot of issues with season 1. It's not a perfect show, and if someone said this show gets like 1 star, I'd be like, you know what, fair enough. I'm not even going to try to convince you that it's a good show and you should continue watching it. Because if you didn't have a good time with those 8 episodes, you probably won't like it. I don't know. But yeah, that is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Stick around for the next video because I have more thoughts, obviously, as I do. But until then, bye!